AM 970 WSTX.
We have Samuel Judovic with Onyx. I want to say Onyx as the umbrella because that's the
Yes.
name, the brand.
That's my brand.
Onyx, okay? And opera is one of the areas that you specialize in.
That's correct.
But there's a whole lot more to Onyx than just opera in terms of the community facility that you're developing and the strategies that you're using to get people involved in the community. Okay? So, we were talking about Paul Robeson and you're having this opera performance coming up on the 23rd. And that's going to be 5 to 8 in the evening at Government House.
Yes.
RSVP. Good thing. And I'm here looking at your website, and it's very informational, very nicely laid out, and easy to read. Okay, so, folks, you can go to Onyx Opera, ONYXOPERA.org, and see more about and read more about Onyx Opera. All right? So, let's talk about Paul Robeson again, because we can't talk about him too much in terms of the things that he's done. And folks, while I'm here talking, if you're by the computer, go and do your Google of Paul Robeson. That's ROBESON. Every adult and for sure every child should be introduced to this gentleman and what he did for the world. Not just persons of color, the world. This is about making quality of life for everyone better.
Yes. Like I said, he was my motivation to get into the arts period. I mean, I sang growing up, but it didn't mean anything to me until I studied and realized that there was someone that I can relate to. That back in the 1800s, who was born in the 1800s and was accomplishing things that we act like we can't do today. It's like mind-boggling. Paul was an attorney. You understand? He was a concert artist. He was the greatest Othello we've had as Shakespeare in Othello. Okay, he's the one who premiered Showboat. The show where they come to Broadway started with Old Man River, that song.
Yes.
Then he got into, as an activist and, fighting for rights for us and so forth. He was a star football player. He's in the Rutgers Hall of Fame. I mean, the guy was just won many awards as an orator.
Well, folks, it's right here. All you got to do is Google Paul Robeson, and I did that. And one of the things that came up here was his biography. An acclaimed 20th century performer. Yes, caller, just hold for a second. I'll be right with you. An acclaimed 20th century performer known for productions like The Emperor Jones, Othello. Okay, they didn't want to talk to me. Probably probably our engineer. And he was also an international activist. Born April 9, 1898 in Princeton, New Jersey, Paul Robeson went on to become a stellar athlete and performing artist. He starred in both stage and film versions of The Emperor Jones and Showboat, and established an immensely popular screen and singing career of international proportions. Paul Robeson spoke out against racism and became a world activist, yet was blacklisted during the paranoia of McCarthyism in the 1950s. He died in Pennsylvania in 1976. All right? And there's a whole lot more about early roles in All God's Children and Emperor Jones, and then Showboat and Old Man River. Oh yeah, keep rolling along. That's right. That's right. We're gonna keep rolling, letting Maria and Irma come through here. That's fine. We're gonna keep rolling along. Right. Okay. So, Government House on the 23rd. All right. Good thing.
Week from Friday.
It's a wonderful venue for something like this. Now, let's talk about opera for a minute. Okay? Can you hear about calypso? You hear about Quelbe. You hear about hip hop. You hear, soul music, all of this other stuff, so forth and so. You hear more so about classical music.
Mhm.
Now, I'm going to have to rely on you for some names, okay? And I say this because I know that there's a lady, a statuesque lady
Mhm.
in the world of opera,
Mhm.
renowned, and she just happens to be a black person, which in and of itself is a historical
Yeah.
factor in
Yeah.
there. Could you tell me her name? Because I see her, I saw her standing, and when she moves that body, it's like, and she puts that kind of like tenses where you see that they're going to open the mouth and the sound comes out. It's an amazing sight to see.
Well, it's an incredible thing just singing this way. First of all, in the perfect theater with the right acoustics, we don't use microphones. So you have to project. So you're actually singing with your whole body.
The diaphragm, everything.
Yeah. You use the diaphragm, you use it. First, we had Marian Anderson. She broke the color barrier at the Metropolitan Opera. And most of them had to go to Europe, and then they brought them back here. It was tough. Then we had Leontine Prices, who you're probably talking about.
Okay.
Well, Marian Anderson opened the door. Leontine Price took it to another level. Then we had Martina Arroyo, who was mixed. She was actually Puerto Rican by birth, and she was of our complexion. And then we had Jessie Norman, and we had Kathleen Battle, and there's one called Pretty Indian now from Africa that's end of the world.
All right.
And then go ahead.
Well, I'm so happy that you could share that little bit of history, brief there with us. So where are the guys? Well, one of them is right here with us, folks. Okay, our own Pavarotti, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been called that many times.
Yes, but this is what it's all about. And too often, certain sports or arts are projected by a community as belonging to one ethnicity or another.
Right.
Talent is talent.
Yes,
Talent doesn't go by ethnicity. It is talent.
And the music is international.
Exactly.
So international language. I've done some studies lately, and I found that a lot of stories and certain things, even pantomime and acting and singing as they act, which is what opera is, and then it was sort of branched off into musicals and operettas, which is a lighter form, was started in Africa. It goes way back. What the Italians did, they took it, the Greeks and then the Italians, and they refined it in that way where we did this naturally. Back in Africa, I don't think people understand the depth of our black history. I mean, I know most people don't. They don't really go to study our people. The other cultures know more about us than we actually do.
Well, and not only that, we don't know, for instance, the extent to which forays out of Africa reach all the way into Italy, let's say, and so you go into Italy and you see the variations in skin tone. It didn't just happen because of the sun. It happened because people are people and they mix.
Of color was
exactly.
The Moors. One of my friends went to Sicily in Italy, and they told her they would give thank. Well, we thank you guys for our skin tone, because the Moors, the mixture there is what gave the Italians certain color to their skin, and they appreciate it because it's it's something they appreciate, because everyone's trying to get a tan.
It makes them distinctive.
Right.
And you see, this is I made a comment the other day, because there is and I'll just go to my page really quick here. There was a discovery in the UK where the first modern Britons had dark black skin.
That is correct.
And blue eyes, and it's like, I made a comment here. I said, in humanity, 2 words, okay, all history of blood is red.
That's correct.
And somehow the other folks are looking for ways to differentiate and so forth. And then I went on to say, in humanity, the 1 word finds ways to think it not so. You know, and that's why we have things like slavery, immigration issues, human trafficking issues, genocide, internments, medical experimentation, Trail of Tears, Holocaust, and revisionist history. It's so important to know, not to discriminate or set others apart, but to realize how much really we all are one, and that there is a conspiracy to keep us apart.
That is correct. That's correct. But it all started in Africa, and we studied deeply. We go look, and you'll be surprised that there are documentaries in the library in Spain and in Cambridge that this stuff isn't hidden. You just have to go look for it. They will make it readily available to you. But if you go to where it is, I have a document that I'm going to hand out at the concert on February 23rd, where a guy came from England and came to Virginia to show them how to keep the slaves subservient and keep them down. And it was a mindset. He had certain things that he said, this is how we did it in Europe. And I hear you having trouble with your slaves over here. I'm going to hand it out because I think people need to understand that this was purposely done.
Purposely done.
They know our greatness. They wanted to pillage our country. So they devised ways to do that.
Well, we're still challenged here because
Absolutely.
Folks can tell you about Virgin Islands history in our schools, or more like not in our schools. African history, as much as the transatlantic slave trade has to do with the culture and development in the Caribbean, not in our schools.
That's correct.
And you know, I remember learning about George Washington and cutting down a cherry tree and all this other stuff, and Thanksgiving and the Puritans and most recently history books, revisionist history. For instance, the Trail of Tears, where you're seeing that they're saying that the Indians tried to accommodate by moving, as they took the initiative to move to accommodate different. And we all know that that's not what happened. We know that they were forcefully moved to the point of a march without clothes, food, and many died along the way. It was not a transatlantic, it was across country, but it was just as heinous in terms of what was done. So it's great when we can focus on how the oneness that we have.
Well, there's only one race, you know,
and
it's the human race.
The human race.
Okay.
And that someone like yourself in this area, opera, that too often before was relegated in our minds.
Absolutely.
And you know, like you said, it was a plan.
Yes.
When you could get people to say, I'm not going to even run the race because I'm not going to win.
Yeah. They keep you out, period.
Right. So I'm happy to have you here, and happy to see you in this capacity. And I say that because you have many. But in this capacity, sharing with us here on the 23rd at Government House. Okay? So now, in terms of the RSVP, you already maxed out, you sent out 1,000 invitations for 250 RSVPs, or is there a way that folks who might have a particular interest in opera can seek you out and make sure they get theirs?
Well, they need to go to the site, and the email is there, RSVP. And once they did, the promoter will send them an invitation. I don't know what the numbers are.
Okay, good.
We discussed maybe adding another day. Maybe, you know, in the States now, there's so many programs. So Black History Month extends into March, I'm sorry, because just not enough place to do the events. And
well, you know, it's kind of nice that you said that. It's nice that you said that. I don't believe in Black History Month.
Right.
I believe in having a time, you know, when we can highlight the ongoing challenges, successes, experience, accomplishments. So I tend to look at it in that context, okay? And so it's important that people not get caught up in this, like I go to church on Sunday and then from Monday through Saturday I live a different life. No. Our history is something that goes on and on and on, okay? So it's just one of those things that I'm happy that we have this opportunity now. We're saying opera, okay? We're saying opera, folks. Last year, March, we had the Copenhagen Brass Ensemble come here and perform, all right? And I'm saying to you that it was wonderful and it's someplace you should have been in terms of experiences. Well, this is no different because here you have world-class entertainment being brought to the Virgin Islands that people elsewhere pay premium dollar to have. And I'm not trying to exaggerate. I'm not trying to puff you up. Of course, I can't puff you up. You are who you are, established in that context. But I'm saying it with such emphasis and what's the word? Passion. Because when things like this come to you, you have to avail yourself and take advantage of it. It's just like we would love to see, for instance, the show Hamilton come here to the Virgin Islands. As far as I'm concerned, we should be figuring out a way outside of the hurricane situation where we just put up the whole cast for free and have a performance where we build a stage at a place like a Kramer Park or someplace where the whole masses could come and watch this thing and enjoy in a way that no place else would be able to do it because of the connection of Hamilton and the ambience of the Caribbean all in one. Okay?
Well, hopefully, me being here is not just to perform, but it's to introduce and to involve the young people. To really establish and develop the School of the Arts, so we could have our own orchestra and to tour the Caribbean. I've been singing that song since I've been here, and that's in works, but we have to organize the performances here because this is base. This is base. So as they get trained and so forth, there is an outlet because that's important. A place to perform that makes them excited about working towards deadlines, towards goals, something that's coming up. So that's the whole idea behind it because the arts teachers focus on discipline. And our young people are lacking much of that. I spoke to two of the music teachers at Central High yesterday, Mr. Joins and I think it was Godby, and they share tremendous interest. They understand what the arts does. I'm going to Complex today because I'm trying to get a group of young people to sing with us, especially on the song "Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel." I want them to sing the chorus and I'll come in and do the verse. But see, to start drawing them.
But that's the way you do it.
To it. To be
that is the way you do it.
You know, so
okay, and not too long from now, you're going to see folks like Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, but you're going to see some younger faces with them simply because they know this is the way you do it. This is the way you cultivate
to keep going on.
To keep it going on. So now, earlier I was talking about Tim Duncan. Okay, and the key being that there is a connection. Okay, but now we're talking Samuel J. Udovic, and there's a connection. All right, tell us a little bit about this connection. You didn't just get off the boat, plane, or whatever, and say, well, hey, St. Croix looks like a nice place. Let me try this here.
Well, I had wings one time, and I used to fly down. Just kidding. I grew up here. I came here when I was actually we came to St. Thomas. My dad being a pastor, and my grandfather was, they set out to evangelize the Caribbean in their particular denomination. And by the way, I'm not a denominationalist. I don't believe in it. Religion per se, I believe in spirituality, loving God, and you can only love God through mankind. If you don't treat people right, you don't even know God.
Well, I just bring it back to this thing about uniting people or dividing them.
Yeah.
Anytime you use whatever vehicle or instrument you have to divide people,
Yeah.
then
We know who that's
the
from.
instrument isn't inherently bad by itself, but if it's used that way,
Yeah.
then the
Influence
result is
yeah,
not
influence
positive.
is wicked. It's
Yeah,
evil
yeah.
to divide.
Right.
So we came to St. Thomas. I was about 7, I think, 7. And we stayed there 2 years. That set up the church, and then we moved here. And I went to Gardine, and I went to what do you call it, Concordia. Then I went to Marco. Then I went to Central. And then in my last year, we moved to Florida, and that's where I got involved with the arts. Basketball was my thing. I was really good. I was really, really good. And everyone thought, even when I speak to Marshall Webster, attorney,
Yes.
we grew up together. I was at their house, he was always at my house. And he said, when the first time he heard me sing, he said, where you get that voice from? We thought you were going to the pros, you know? And I'm like, well, it just happened, man.
It does happen.
You know, it just happened.
Yes.
And,
Well, Timmy thought you were going to be a swimmer too.
that's right. Life and destiny has its purpose. Now,
Yes.
what is that for? When you're given something, especially the way it unfolded.
Uh-huh.
Because in high school, I started going to competitions, singing German songs because I picked up the languages. And I was winning. I was just doing it because my chorus teacher gave it to me and I was good at it. But it didn't dawn on me. He said, you have a world-class voice. And I'm not paying attention because I'm shooting hoops. I'm in the newspaper 26 points a game. I'm like, man, I don't regret diverting to the music. I could have done a little more time in the sports. But it is what it is. But I think now I'm in a purpose and I'm in destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Not only am I supposed to do this here, I'm supposed to do this in the Caribbean. So the responsibility is pretty deep. I don't think many people will really understand it until it totally unfolds, which is this branding. On the 23rd, that's part of branding Onyx. And then now we're getting people who are interested in being part of the chorus, being part of the lights, because we are gonna mount full productions.
Okay.
You know, you must take it to another level. Life and heaven is about movement, continuous growth, continuous movement. Where the problem is.
If you don't plan to grow, you plan to die.
That's right. I like it. I like it.
Don't plan to grow, you plan to die.
Yeah.
All right? So, folks, as much as you love whatever situation you're in now, just know that change is the natural order of things.
Inevitable.
And if you got to change, try to make it grow.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because the other alternative, which is the inevitable, is something that when it's appropriate and when it's time, that's fine. But don't take yourself there.
That's right.
Plan to grow.
Yeah, and pass on what you're growing to. Now, I asked the people out in the audience land that there are a lot of your children that have talent. Give them an opportunity to explore this. Because it can take them places that you probably can't even dream about. But my dad tell people, oh, my son is an opera singer. It's nothing that he even knew about. He really don't know about it, but it's something that's of excellence. It's different. We speak many languages. We act, we sing, we dance all kind of styles. We fence. To be an opera singer is not just to sing. You have to learn so many other crafts. You know, it's something that's unique. It's different. Why not excel? Why not aspire to be the best? Why not? And I know we have our culture here in the Caribbean. I know we have our culture, but having a culture and being cultured is two different things. Being cultured has to do with excellence, with growth, excelling. There are a lot of wonderful musicians here. A lot of them still don't read music. To me, and don't take this wrong, it's not up or down. If you don't read music, you're not a musician. You got to be able to read and write to be a musician. You're gifted, you're talented, you're a piano player, but I can't call you a pianist if I can't put a piece in front of you and you're gonna play it for me. You're gonna make me sing it 20 times so you can hear it and
So you can hear it and learn it, yeah.
We don't on this level we don't do that. I give you the song, we come and we're gonna do here, we're gonna do a bridge here, I'm gonna repeat, I'm gonna sing a high note here. We just mark everything and they know. They know the signs, they know the symbols, all the markings that are in the music. So it's not a put down, it's an opportunity to grow is what I'm bringing.
I hear you. And this is why, with my son and his music, he has a talent. Just in the same way you walk into opera and opera was there waiting for you. In the same way, his musical, it was just there, it was a revelation for all of us. But we understand the importance of him learning to read music in that context. And like you said, it's not a put down. We have many great, I call them musicians. You may not, but I call them musicians. That just don't have that particular skill as part of their portfolio.
I don't think they need it, what it is.
Well, part of it is also that, you know, when you learn without it, if you want to look at it in the context of a disability or whatever, that's fine. But for that person, this takes them where they want to go.
Yeah.
And so a lot of music now is improv and in that context. So there's plenty of room for all of it.
Well, guess what? But if they did both, it make them great.
Yes.
It make them great.
And I know
They'll be more in demand.
I know a renowned piano player, locally renowned piano player, who will echo exactly what you're saying in that regards. It just didn't happen that way for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you learn a skill, the best mechanic in the world, at a certain point to send them to school is torture.
Yeah,
you know, they just can't go back. So it's critical, and part of what you're saying is critical to get these younger folks at that time when they're most receptive.
Yeah.
And you can make them so much greater. And I shouldn't say make them. You can make the opportunity for them to open doors of even more greatness.
Right.
That's the better way to put it. But
build on what you have. Become the best. See, your best is when you can't grow anymore. Honestly, I was in Florida 2 weeks ago. I went to my teacher. This guy was 82 years old, little Italian guy. I went to a voice lesson. I'm in my 50s. Come on. But I needed that to stretch the voice on a level that I don't do myself because I don't take the time.
Well, again, it comes down to the willingness to grow. Once you believe you have arrived and you have nowhere else to go, you may not realize, but you've created a problem for yourself. And I remember one time my son said to me, well, I'm a professional. I said, oh, okay, well, let me tell this teacher and that teacher. You don't need them anymore because you know it all now. And he started, no, that's not what I mean. So he has an appreciation for the concept of growth.
And that one lesson took me into something that he's been telling me to do, because I sang baritone before. Because people of color, we have range that a lot of people don't have. It's what it is. Okay, so I could sing low, I could sing middle, I could sing high. But there's a thing that he was telling me to do, coperto a coperto, to cover and to open. And I got it off and on, and I did it, but I understood it this time. After studying with him for over 8 years. And all this time, I understood it on a whole different level. You understand?
Never too young to learn. Never too young to learn. That's what I would put it. Okay, so folks, if you have access to the internet, onyxopera.org, ONYXOPERA.org. Check it out, and if you love opera, like opera, want a different experience in entertainment, have children that you would like to expose to opera, or has a like or love or interest in opera, then you need to contact and see about coming to this event so that you can reap the benefits of the experience. Right? And as I say that every time I play the video of the Copenhagen Brass Ensemble, and I look at the crowd, and this was at Island Center. It was relatively speaking soulful. I really think it should have been standing only all the way to the back, because it was such a great performance and such a different event in light of the other events that had come and have since passed. And I see this as being no different. That type of experience that people would want to have and to be able to reflect on.
There are young people here that will excel at this. They just need the opportunity to be exposed and to be involved. And I think as parents and as leaders, we should not deprive them of that. It's not fair.
No, well, I think as parents and as leaders, we have a responsibility to take them to these things. Let them decide that I like this or it's boring or what.
Light something in there.
Because you know, I went to practice with Camille Macedon, otherwise known as King Derby and Pastor Derby, with my son, and that's how the instrument, like, it jumped out of his hand into my son's hand, and up until that point in time, I had no idea of what his talent or talents were, because that's just one.
Right.
You know, it's like basketball and opera, just like swimming and basketball. You know, so they may have more than one, and one of them may be the
exposure is the key.
It's the key.
Exposure is the key.
You gotta see it. Now, I was talking with a young lady, my daughter, and she told me, I don't like country music. So I watched her and said, you sure now? What is country music? And I said that because here in the Caribbean, country music was a big thing. You know, we grew up on it. That was what we got then on the airwaves, among other that and the church music and so forth. And so I played a song for her, and I had her listen to it. And the name of the song is "Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven. They just don't want to go now. No, they just don't want to go now. They just don't want to go now." So I had her listen to it, and I said, "What kind of music is that?" Okay, and of course, you know, she kind of figured I was coming with something kind of thing. But the bottom line is that the group, the musical group behind it, is the Wailers.
Wow. I think I heard that.
The Wailers, yes, the Wailers. And I say, you know, so is it country or is it reggae? You know, and there's a lot of country and reggae. And so we have to get our children to stop thinking in terms of this compartmentalization, to realize, just like as human beings, when we start saying black and white but once you do the DNA test and you realize that it's all of these things that come together to make you who you are. And so you would run the risk of discriminating against yourself by saying that I like this or I don't like that, because the origins and the performers, black, white, pink, green, whatever, is such as part of the potpourri that we should be willing to enjoy and, as necessary, embrace to our benefit.
Well, I listen to all types of culture, all music. I appreciate it. Some country songs I like, there's some I don't. Yeah, but you know, all style. I love some reggae. For me, it's about content in terms of lyrics. I love calypso. I'm not happy with some of the lyrics right now.
I agree.
I'd love to meet with some of those singers at some point in time. Remember, spiritually, I'm an apostle, so there are things that I will take on a lot of people won't.
Well, the challenge is, and I say this all the time, the challenge is the lyrics.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad music.
Not at all.
It's the lyrics. And so in the same way that parents too often I don't like that kind of music, and they don't listen. And then they don't understand the lyrics that their children are listening to. And that's helping to form their thinking and reference. And what you have basically done is given your children away to those lyrics. Okay? So I'm the first one to play a song and let my son listen to it and say, no, you hear that? You don't hear that in our house, right? and it's like so forth and so on, all right? And I would never waste my money to buy that simply because of what it is about. And I'm starting to listen and exert my influence. You know, I watch all the cartoons that they watch. And so I tell them, I say, well, I don't like SpongeBob. SpongeBob is nothing but silliness. It doesn't teach you anything. And because if I don't weigh in like that, then
They don't
they
give it
just
second thought.
take
They
it
accept
in
It just becomes
exactly,
subconscious
and
forms them.
and then some ways mimic it.
Yeah.
All right.
People
So
not a lot of people don't. Most people don't understand how the subconscious is fed.
mhm.
Even if you're sleeping and you're playing a song, it's been fed into your subconscious. It's making up who you are.
Yep. Yep.
They don't understand that part of the psyche.
Yeah. And so variety for me in music is my spice of life. I like a variety. If I listen to anything with just the same music, I can't do it. I can't do it. Variety is for me.
Even with the opera,
mhm.
I'm learning a new opera so far. I'm learning some music. After a while, I need to go shut it down, and I want to hear something else. I just have to get away.
Well, I'm sure that in opera itself, there are variations in operatic style that,
Oh yeah.
in the same way we have
The
different types of
composers,
music. Right.
they hold the way they arrange and the way they do music, how they go in and out, and they create the bridges and the interludes. It's all different. That's why to be an excellent singer, you have to know the style of the composer. Because every composer, you don't sing Mozart like you sing Puccini, you don't sing Puccini like you sing Verdi or Wagner. It's all different, and they all have their style. And you are considered an artist when you know how to do the different styles. That's a whole nother story.
Well, it comes like any other aspect of music by delving into it, listening to it,
mm-hmm.
pursuing it as an art. If you want to pursue it as an art,
mm-hmm.
then you go to that next level. Folks like me, I just know that song good. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, sometimes you have to read what the composer wrote because he might write something about this,
mm-hmm.
and it needs to be done a certain way, or the tempo, or the fast or slow in between, or moderato, because he intends to create a certain effect. And so unless you understand that, and sometimes you have to go to the actual story, because they take the story and they write a libretto. They have to conform it to fit the music and the art, because you can't just take the story and write the whole. So they have to sort of rewrite the whole story, and it's called a libretto. Once the libretto is done, it's approved. Now the composer can put the music to the libretto. It has to be written a certain way. So now you go back and read that to really see what the story was about, or the way they changed it, to understand it and act. Because in opera, we sing and we act. Next Friday, we're doing a concert. But when we produce an actual opera, it's not just singing, it's acting, it's emoting, it's expressing what's being said in the music. One of the operas I'd love to get to commission is our story with the Danes. What happened when they were here? How things. It's gonna be controversial, but I am controversial.
Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. And this, what I like about what you said is that the bottom line is, if you tell the truth,
mm-hmm.
and
we all can grow.
We all can grow. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be truth with an angle to say there's a dislike or like or anything like that. It's just the truth. And
what really happened.
And we can grow and be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
WSTX AM 970. You're on the air.
Good morning, doggies.
Good morning, Criminatus. How you doing today?
Listen, I have been listening to your program from when you start, and it has been very educational. Very, very.
All right.
And, when I was listening to you, you said that when you play something, what instrument you play?
Me? I wish I could say I could play. I don't make noise. I play piano here and there. I trying to follow my son on the ukulele, but he don't leave me in the dust.
But that's okay. Listen, the whole thing is practice. You hear?
Mm-hmm. In high school,
the whole thing is practice.
In high school, I had a little thing with the trumpet.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but I didn't get too far. But I had a little thing with the trumpet.
So you know that the trumpet has 3 valves.
Well, the son, I know I got 3 valves, but Miss Trumpet left me for some other guy.
Maybe the third finger wasn't operated right. We've been talking about it. I find it to be so very close with me, because my dad used to tell me, you never learn to play anything. Because my brother would pick up a guitar and do something. But he said, I could hear you from And when you come home, you're always banging up the window. So bless Mr. Tolang in his grave, my son.
Wow.
We were living in the Grove in Waterford, which is was a very quiet place, mostly for seniors. Mr. Tolang wanted to start the community band. And he asked my father if he would send my brother Henry and myself. You imagine, I am accustomed to running around, climbing coconut trees, fishing, all kind of thing. And somebody find it interested in me. You know what feeling that is?
Yeah.
That was a beautiful feeling to see that somebody interested in you.
Yeah.
Well, my son, I went to Mr. Tolang, and we used to practice up in the old fort. And we were living down in Waterford, below the Goose. So that was quite a long walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, Mr. Tolang, my father said that you could start me off on the drum. I told him the same thing my father said. Well, we got there, we started practicing to read music. And then one night he brought in the trumpet, had a couple of us try, and he gave me the trumpet to carry home. Jesus, bread. Listen, that was a good feeling, you hear me? Such a beautiful feeling. I put the thing under my arm. I say, yes, I'm going home now to show my father. And I show, with the trumpet, but everything is practice.
Right.
And Rudy Schaltebrand got me started in music, in playing in orchestra music. And I'm sure a lot of people don't even remember the theme song. The theme song was Eptide. Anyhow, then I do play with Rudy Schaltebrand a while, and Skip them, they were playing together too, and they asked me to come and play with them because Mario and myself started off in the with the band music.
Mm-hmm.
So I like, if I know a number, I like to play by ear, as I want to put in my feeling. And your fingers, it comes from your brain to your fingers. And there's nothing like practice.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I have had some good feeling. Eddie Russell tell me, you were very instrumental in my coming up, listening. Now, there was another guy that was very good on trumpet, Eric David, and I listened to that guy, how he fingered it, but the reading the music, he never used to read music. So I was very happy. I played in church almost every Sunday, and I just keep playing, and people telling me, man, you're in bed now. I'm in bed 24/7. They said, man, come under your wheelchair or play out from outside, because I did that one time and play outside. But I love to hear how the youth is thinking.
Yep.
And I think this program is having a lot of them starting to think. And that's the important thing.
Well, Creamy, we're working on a project. Working on a project because what you heard them say is actually a video, and we have a studio set up so that we're going to start having forums that they're going to be doing their own, like television type forums, to talk about various things in the community, because right now we talk more about the youth and at the youth, but we don't do as much in terms of listening to them or placing them in an environment where they can show us what they can do. And Mr. Udovic that I have here with me today, you know, the Manor School, that whole facility there was acquired through him, and it's being set up kind of like a community education / arts center. And so, you know, his goal, as I understand it, is ultimately to be reaching out to these young folks who may have talent.
Correct.
And giving them an outlet so that they can go out there and express themselves, because right now we have very few outlets.
You see, the youth want somebody to listen. A lot of them want to see that somebody has some kind of interest in them, because they just run all about and they're looking for something. So if you could direct them to the right thing, I think I see some changes in this island. I think I see some changes.
It's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming.
I really, I mean, you know, this is my life where I born here, live here. I don't go back and reach much.
And,
You know what I mean, eh?
and I stopped running because I don't want to take your sneakers. I'm walking now. Okay.
But I've had so much experience, and I try to direct any one of them that I could talk to, you know.
Yeah.
So the gentleman that you have there with you, he's from here, and he's making a big sacrifice in wanting to develop or to train some of our youth in the right direction. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You just say thank you very much. And Dougie,
Yes, sir.
you really do a good job in handling the whatever the radio.
Uh-huh.
And you got an answer for everything.
I do my best. I I don't always have the answer people want, but I do my best.
Well, the best answer I got is good cigar.
Good cigar. All right.
Okay, have a blessed day
You too,
now.
sir.
You do
Okay.
the same. You do the same.
Yeah.
All right. It's such a blessing to have folks like Remy who have their experience and can take the time out to call in and share it,
Yeah.
because I think that what he also said there reinforces that parents, you have an opportunity to allow your children to open doors.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't ever write off what they can be and what they can do. So,
Just because you might not like that, don't stop. Don't you know, keep them from the experience. You never know.
well, I'm gonna tell you, you know, sometimes habits are hard to break. I know a gentleman who is going to be retiring in his field, and it's a very unique field in which that there's great competition for his skills.
Okay.
So even in retirement, he has the opportunity to do even greater things to his benefit or to whatever community he might serve. But he wants to do agriculture,
Okay.
and he has a family that is land rich,
Okay.
with the opportunity that he could do something in agriculture. This is a second career.
Right.
And his parents refuse to let him use their
Wow.
property because their mindset is no child a day is going to be putting their hand in the door.
Oh my.
Okay? And I'm saying that, folks,
Wow.
to the listening audience and everything. You know what I'm talking about. You have parents who disown their children because of the way that the choice that they try to make. And I see it, I mean, even in my family, for those who may not know, my father was looked upon in the context of in becoming a preacher,
Mhm.
okay? To the point where his choice not to do so
Mm.
caused him to fall out of favor
Mm.
with his father at the time,
Wow.
which they resolved that later on and
Yeah,
everything else.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, this is something that has been going on for ages,
Mm.
where parents just, I know where you should be,
Mhm.
as opposed to embracing what you
Yes.
want to do. And what I try to impress upon them is to have skills so that you have backups.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can do what you want to do, but you never find yourself out in the cold because maybe that field doesn't open
you
up to
can't-
you right then and there.
Right. You have to be able to sustain it and pursue it.
And
So
pursue
some
it.
of those skills allow you, they're stepping stones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have great artists, but very few artists make it financially just on their art skills
Yeah,
alone.
yeah.
You have those that do.
Yeah.
And then you have artists that are also architects.
Mhm.
And the architecture is what carries them in a
That's
way
correct.
that they can
Correct.
apply their
Because
art.
the actual success in the arts is very expensive. It's an expensive pursuit. So if your family can't back you or you don't have a sponsor, that's where the difficulty comes in most of the time.
You have to have a backup
You
plan.
gotta have somewhere to live and carry on and pay for your lessons and go to your training and travel to auditions and stay in the hotels, and that's where a lot of our people come short.
Mhm.
I was fortunate I had a sponsor. I've had sponsors. You know, when we left here, I went to the States. My teacher took me to Mr. Berman and said, "This guy was like, boy, paid my college, paid my car, I had an apartment there." You know, but if you don't get that, you can never reach the next level where it can sustain you.
Yes. Well, you can get there, but it will be a very
It's
difficult path.
longer.
It's
and-
longer,
and
for
more
instance,
difficult.
and more difficult. There are folks who reach there,
Who
but
has, yes.
and folks with knowledge look at them and say, "Oh my goodness, I can only imagine where this person would be today
Yeah.
had the resources
Then
been
they
there."
support them, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so now let's talk about your website, because when I went to your website originally, all right, the page that comes up here and Onyx Opera, and to the far right, I'm just sharing my navigation.
right.
To the far right side is about Onyx Opera.
It's all the pages.
And you scroll down, and one of the things there is events.
Mhm.
So I clicked on events. Since we were having an event here, my intuition said click on events.
Right.
And on the events, it has Black History Month, a tribute to Paul Robeson, featuring Samuel Udovic tenor. The venue, Government House, Christiansted, St. Croix. Date, February 23rd, 2018. Reception from 5 to 6. And the program itself is from 6 to 8. Okay? All right. And the dress attire is after 5. All right.
Yeah. No
Okay.
shorts, no sneakers. You need to come.
Right.
Semi-formal. You don't have to put on
Semi-formal,
tux or anything or
Right.
tie, but a nice shirt or pants, dress shoes. If you want to wear a jacket, a sport jacket, whatever.
Yeah,
You
you don't
know.
have to say no more. They know.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Okay, they know. You know, it's like, hey, you ain't getting in the door unless you do something. Okay, and it's a free event. Contributions/donations to support Rock the Opera Summer Youth Program, which is supported in part by the VI Council of the Arts. Okay,
Mhm.
and I say that. Okay, and we're going to come back to that. I'm going to finish up this list of reading. RSVP required. So now there's an email here
Mhm.
that you can send an email to request an invitation.
Right.
Okay, that email is the Onyx Opera, TheOnyxOpera, okay, at gmail.com. Right, at gmail.com, folks. Now, I'm saying that because this is a free event, nice classy affair, but instead of him having to know who everybody is, this gives you an opportunity to introduce yourself to him by way of getting tickets to this
Right.
event. Okay, and we're going to talk about this because you have to get the word out And now that I have this information, I can continue to trumpet it so that people can't go around with this excuse. But I didn't know. I'm gonna make sure you know. All right. All right. So now I want to come back to your comment here: contributions/donations to support Rock the Opera Summer Youth Program. Now, this is, aside from the fact that it's featuring a tribute to Paul Robeson, and it's a great classy affair in of itself, I want people to make the connection. Mr. Udovic is not getting up there to show off his talent and puff up his chest and say, look at me, who I be, what I've achieved. That's not what this is all about, folks. Yes, he has achieved and he is someone well-renowned. Okay? We accept that. But what he's saying is that, hey, through my organization and my facilities, we want to create an opportunity for our youth.
That's correct.
To recognize, see, and be able to walk in the door of opportunities if opera is their thing.
Not just opera. Opera falls under classical music.
Okay.
So we must, that correction, yes, opera, that's for singing and the style, but we're going to be championing classical music across the board, whether it's the trumpet, whether it's the violin, whether it's the flute, whether it's the tuba, because we intend to build an orchestra. I'm a visionary, and that's how I see things. If I can't take it to its ultimate, why am I doing it?
Well, you know, everything that you just said there, I think that you maybe might want to put a link on the word program so that they can click on that and they can see the bigger picture.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Because I'm going by what I see here and impressed by what I see here. But now that you've given this greater explanation of it, it's like, wow, we have to make it happen. You know, folks, we have our high school marching bands. You gotta support them, not just showing up to watch. Make a financial donation. You have the little jazz ensemble that Central High has. You've got to support them, not just showing up to listen to the music. You got to support them financially. The instruments cost money and everything else, and the teachers use their own vehicles and equipment to get them from point A to point B so they can perform for you. You've got to help them. And in this case, we have another venture now that says, hey, you've got to support what they do. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen. We make it happen. Okay? And we have the American Cancer Society, and unfortunately, there's greater need for what the American Cancer Society does in the Virgin Islands than there is the financial support mechanism in place. So they had to kind of like stop and regroup and figure out how they're going to retool this to make it work.
Okay.
Well, part of making it work is that we have to redouble our efforts locally to recognizing that we get out what we put in.
Absolutely.
And what today you put in for someone else may tomorrow be the support for you
or even your children
and your children, family member. You know? And I say that's dealing with something like cancer. But we're not talking about dealing with something that's destructive. We're talking about something that's proactive, growth-oriented, community building oriented, career building oriented, options building oriented.
I think somewhere in there we have on one of those pages, I don't recall where I had something about, I don't know if it's under information, where the statistics from a study shows that children who are involved in the yes, you see there? Studies show that ratio of increase in academics and in life achievements, 4% increase in mathematics and 7% increase in English for kids, young people or people who are involved in the arts. It directly affects the achievement ability. There's something to it.
Well, one of the most immediate things is a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. Oh,
The sense of accomplishment builds confidence.
Yes, absolutely.
It builds confidence, and it says, I can do it. Yeah, so that child that might have been challenged by math says, well, if I could do this, I could do that.
Yeah, because music is math, you know.
Well, I understand that.
Music is math.
I don't tell them that. I don't tell them that because sometimes play is work. I want you to think it's play because I want you to do it. Because if I tell you it's work, then all of a sudden, you're not as interested.
If you learn to read music, you're doing math. You're subdividing.
Yeah.
The rhythm, the beats, the syncopation, the 32nd note, the 16th note, the half notes, the quarter notes, the 8 notes. It's fraction. Music is math.
Yes.
You know, and that's it. And then the arts also allow you to utilize both lobes of the brain. Because one side they say is more artistic and one is technical. But when you go in there, you have to do both.
You have to do both.
It develops both.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this event, folks. What is this event, folks? Yes, I'm going to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. Okay, on the 23rd of February. Not March, not April, like just a little ways down the road here. 23rd of February. Okay? There is going to be a program at Government House where Mr. Samuel Udovic and his backup singers, and I say that because those singers, some of them may be adults, you know, some of them may be students from a school, you know, because it's being done just that way to highlight the talent in our community, as well as to perform a tribute to Paul Robeson. Okay? And we talked about Paul Robeson before, and if you have any questions, it's someone you should know about, just go and Google it. Okay? Robeson. All right? So, they're going to have they're going to start out meeting at 6 o'clock. 5 to 6 is when we're going to have your reception. Right. So you'll get a chance to meet, mingle, converse, and otherwise get in the mood for what is to come. And then from 6 to 8 is the program itself. All right. So you're going to have an evening of entertainment, and you may not realize it, but education and math and science all come in, Black History, all of that. All right, this is great. Folks, don't say you didn't know about it. Now, how do you get your tickets? You get your tickets by sending an email. You have to send an email. Okay? Now, I know we have a problem, whether it's Sprint or AT&T or whatever. Okay? But I also know that when you want something, you know how to go and get it.
Yes.
Okay? And if you don't know how to get it, you know how to get the grandchildren to go and get it for you. Okay? So, there's an email. Okay? And the email is Onyx, ONYX, opera, OPERA, at gmail.com. I'm thinking website, at gmail.com. Okay? So now, folks, you have no excuse. Cat dog can't tell you so. You know it by then now. Okay? So, yeah, it's not like going to the complex or going to the center here in the ballpark because they're handing out something. But something is being handed out. It's just the way it's being handled is different.
Right, yeah.
That's all.
Well, they said that's the protocol at the government house. It's by invitation.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not even government house driving this. It's like saying, hey folks, the 11th commandment, never miss a freebs. Okay? All right? The 11th commandment. Okay. So, you telling me all of a sudden your email challenge Well, I'm sure you have a niece, nephew, grandchild, or whatever who can help you out.
Do it on their phone.
Exactly. No, well, I do understand. I do understand the challenges. You know, I have my smartphone. I really don't like composing on the cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it if I have to, but I do not like composing on that small environment. I like my computer for that. And then there's the intimidation factor. I know a lot of folks who have a smartphone, but they basically just use it for communication. They don't utilize the other aspects of it. But when the phone get in the hand of their child and their grandchild, niece, nephew, you see them making it fly.
Everything.
So all you got to do is harness that talent and get them to do it. Okay, folks, you're listening to WSTX AM 970, your community-minded station. And we having a community-minded opera at Government House. The only difference is you can't just walk up and walk in the door. You have to have an invitation. And the invitation is available to anyone that asks. Okay? No, you don't have to live on the hill, and you don't have to have $1 million, and you don't have to drive a Bentley. Okay? That's the bottom line is, would you like to attend this grand affair? Then just ask for a ticket, and you'll get one or two, depending on your number of people you be attending. And I have some folks who are going to be visiting here from Ohio. So I'm going to let them know about this and see if they want to come. And I say that they're visiting from Ohio, but they also set up for our students at a school who had a steel orchestra to travel to Ohio and tour in Ohio. And they took care of all where they stayed and everything. It was a real fun and learning experience for our young people. And so in that context, I would be inviting them also in the process. So, yeah, so I am so glad that you did not call me and say, Mr. Canton, I can't make it again. Okay, I am so glad that you persevered. All right, and I want to thank WSTX for giving me the extra run of time here for reflection, so that we could talk about this and let the public know. And we'll continue to put the word and information out there. All right.
Thank you so much for having me on.
It's my pleasure, and I'm happy to get the word out to the community. Yes, folks. WSTX, your community-minded station, is here for you. And I say to all the other nonprofit organizations, individuals doing positive things in the community, and you want to get the word out, WSTX is your place.
Yes.
Okay? Like anything else, it's here for you, but you've got to take advantage of it.
Right.
Don't let your event, especially your event that involves young people, be one of those where you're there saying afterwards, well, how come nobody came? First, they have to know about it. They have to know about it. If they don't know about it, how they going to come?
That's right.
And if you wait till the day before to tell them, you're wrong. Not only that, but you've done our young people a disservice by doing that. Right? And this goes for everything. If you're going to be selling water on the road, having a food sale to raise monies, a cake sale to raise monies for this organization, that organization.
People know.
And I come on here on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Pikey is here Wednesdays, and Doc Peterson is there on Fridays, and Abdul Ali is doing his thing on Saturday. And I'm saying left, right, and center. You have all of these platforms to reach our community. So, all right, I'm not violence oriented, but I will say for those of you who don't take advantage of that, you need licks.
Good beating, right?
All right. I as you can tell, I enjoy what I do, but I enjoy even more when I see the fruits of the labor in terms of the things happening in the community so that people can take advantage of it.
Well, this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. There's a lot more to come where the community will be involved. We want to have a choir to perform, which will be an Onyx opera chorale, where because in the choir, in the opera, it's a story we're telling. And we have the lead characters, and then we have the chorus, which are the people. Some of them have small parts, and some of them just sing in the general chorus. It's a response between them and the you know the stars, or so not the stars, but the lead characters. And so we're looking to build that. We're gonna have a sheet there for people who are interested to sign up. Some people are already, showing interest. Some people say, well, I used to be in the theater as a hobby in the States. I do lighting, so they're starting to reach out.
And we have it going on here.
Mm-hmm.
We have it going on here. You have Caribbean Community Theater doing their thing there. You have the various bands, whether it's the school, the university, or whatever. Choirs abound through the churches. There's a lot of talent, but very few options for where that talent is going. And I'm just happy that you're adding.
I've already reached out to some of them in the school, so we it's a collaboration that is starting to come together. I spoke with Mr. I forgot his name.
Don't stress yourself with names, right?
Yeah,
just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
It's a collaboration, because it's going to take a collaboration to do this on the level that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about it, and they're open.
And I'm glad that you say that, because collaboration means cooperation.
Yes.
It means taking initiative at different levels to make things happen. It means understanding that what can go wrong going to go wrong, so you always have to plan to have a backup situation, how you can get around. I mean, you can have someone that's going to do something. I was talking with those children that went to Ghana. One of the things that they know is that they have to know everything that they're going to be talking about. So if somebody gets the flu, or somebody ain't feeling good that night, then that they can step right in and carry the load and make sure that the message gets across and a discussion happens. Yeah.
Same in what we do. Everything is double casted in case that person gets sick. Somebody has to think, well, the show must go on. It's the saying that goes, there's no business like show business.
Like show business. The show must go on. Yeah. You got everybody sitting out there. It's not like a wedding. The show must go on. That's right. The wedding, and the bride don't show up, or the groom don't show up. You're stuck. No, but the show must go on.
Bride or groom.
That's right.
This we do. We always have an understudy.
Yeah.
So we're training 2 people at a time. Understudy. Sometimes 3. Depends on the depth and the extent of the role. You always have people.
Fantastic. So, folks, onyxopera.org, onyxopera.org, and you'll see there the list of the pages. One of them is called events, and the email is right there on that page for you to click on and to ask for your tickets to be able to RSVP to come and see this performance. All right, good thing.